All right, first things first, before we get started, check out raw, natural, unrefined hemp rolling papers at www.rawthenic.com. Made in Alcoy, Spain, raw rolling papers are unbleached and unrefined with no chalk, no dyes, and no burning additives so that you can actually, truly taste the natural flavors of what you're smoking on. So those whack woods, those swishes stinks, save that for the booth. If you're smoking that good, you're going to want to taste it. So check them out at www.rawthenic.com. That's RAWTHENTIC.com. Check out their wide variety of papers, cones, tips, rolling trays, grinders, t-shirts, skateboards, collectibles, and so much more. Big shout outs to Small Town Recovery and Consulting. For all your business consulting needs, check them out at www.smalltownrecovery.com or give them a call at 702-293-1010. Also, don't forget to check out www.bombgreen.com. That's BOMGREEN.com. Now let's get it popping. Yo, Hip Hop Roots Podcast. We in the building once again. I'm Bomb Green. You already know, host every week. Hit us up on the voicemail text line 775-538-6350. Hit us up on the email hiphoprootspodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. You already know the drill. Again, Hip Hop Roots theme. Keep it going, keep it going. This man right here was a longtime host of the show, a longtime host of our Raw 16 MC battles. He's an MC himself. He's a host, entrepreneur, amongst many, many other things. Get up for my man, S5. Yo, how you feeling, brother?
Chilling, Bomb Green. What's going on, bro?
Shit, it's been a long time. How you feeling?
I've been great, man. I've been great, man. I'm happy to be back in Las Vegas. I know everybody said, where did I go? You know, I went back to Philly, but I'm back.
That's right. And saying you had hit me, kind of blindsided me with that, because as I was getting the Roots thing cracking and the whole podcast, starting to book, figure out who I was doing, I was like, you know, had the whole intention on getting all the hosts and the DJs, people that people were familiar with. And you hit me with that phone call, said I'm in town. I was like, man, that timing couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, perfect, man. You know?
Hell yeah. So how long were you out of Vegas, back in Philly?
I left Vegas actually in February or March of 2015, and I came back 2018 of March 19th.
Okay.
So I just been back like 7 months. So
dope. I'd say now, Hip Hop Roots, the whole name. You know, we broke it down the last few episodes exactly what it was and what we do. So I'm pretty sure people that aren't familiar with it are kind of getting familiar with it.
Right.
You know, you were in there as a host. You performed on that stage. You got to see, you know, we started the Raw MC battles, a lot of it, you know, because of you and because of the whole Raw thing and stuff. What does that name Hip Hop Roots mean to you? I mean, you know, people, I don't like saying it's a legacy out here, but, you know, ultimately it is. And people, you know, we did a big dent in the community and stuff out here. So, I mean, what does that name mean to you?
Well, the first word that comes to my mind is family. You know what I mean? Because Hip Hop Roots to me was a family. When I came out here, I didn't have a family. I came out here by myself, you know, to pursue music. Like I'm still here now. And I created my own family through music like we all do. And when I was actually told to go to the Hip Hop Roots, it was, I'm trying to think, how did the story start for me? My man Nick, you know what I mean? My man Nick, my man Bone. Big shout out to both of them. They told me about this show, the Hip Hop Roots. So I went down there and I went down to the LVCS. That's where the first Hip Hop Roots show that I went to. And Hydro was on stage with some MCs. I went with somebody named IC Justice. I remember him being there with me too. And the MCs started rapping, and right before I was about to rap, Hydro said, oh no, we don't have any more people that can rap. I'm like, nah, bro, you don't understand. Give me a chance. So he was like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance. And he let me rock. And I impressed Hydro. And so he invited me to come back. And of course, you know what I mean? Big shout out.
Partake.
Yeah. So big shout out to Hydro for giving me that opportunity to touch the mic. And that's where it all began for me. Okay. With the Hip Hop Roots.
Yeah, and I know, you know, you kind of came in after me, and I know, you know, you were out here, you know, on the hustle and stuff when you met Dro and stuff. Because were we at Boomers or were we at LVCS when you had started?
I started at the LVCS. I started at the LVCS. You know what I mean?
Fremont Street.
Yeah, on Fremont. You know, and this one they had the mechanical bull in the middle.
Yeah, that's old school. A lot of people, the stage was a little smaller back then too.
Yeah, but he gave me the opportunity, and then eventually I became the host. And that hosting gig was a little, I can say to me, it's what sparked my career in Las Vegas as an underground artist. That gave me the power to say, I'm a local. You know what I mean? I'm a local MC. You know, meet me. I'm one of the hosts at the Hip Hop Roots. That gave me some authority in the city to do other things. You know what I mean? And Hydro, with that opportunity, he helped me out and my family without even knowing.
Nice.
You know, just by giving me the mic.
And so. You hold yourself well on the mic. So like to pull you in as a host, and because Hydro was hosting everything, him and JR, and even JR did some talking, but Hydro was the voice behind Hip Hop Roots because he just had that presence. So when he brought you in, it was a good move because it's just he wasn't willing to just put anybody on stage, and you had that presence and that vocal presence and everything. It worked. You fit in, like you said, family. You fit in perfect.
And you know what it was? It was I think Hydro, when I told him my background, me being a part of the Temple of Hip Hop, me being taught by Krs-one and actually going overseas and performing in front of large crowds, and then after he seen my ability, it was really dope, man. It was really dope. And I got a story before the end of the podcast that actually will tell people how I became the Raw MC battle champion, because it wasn't even supposed to be me as a battler, because I was the host of the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't really fair at that time, but we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, most definitely. And we'll take it back even before Roots, you know what I mean? Because there's a few things I know about you, but the first time, other than you coming into Roots, the first time I remember hearing the name S5 was my boy was a big Beanie Siegel fan.
Okay.
And he used to bump this shit, and I was didn't really click 2 and 2, and then I realized you were featured on Beanie Siegel's album with Freeway.
Yeah.
How did that How did that whole thing come about?
Well, you know what? Big shout out to the Bro Street Bully, Beanie Siegel. You know what I mean? That's my OG. He paved the way for a lot of artists that say they're from Philadelphia. You know what I mean? They're from Philly. He paved the way, and growing up, that was my favorite artist. So for me to even be on that project, it was like it was mind blowing. You know what I mean? If you're an artist out there, whoever your favorite artist is growing up, just imagine you being on a track with them. And for me, it wasn't like the usual. Or I met him and we shook hands and get on the track. No, it was more like behind the scenes. I moved to California. And me and my California peoples actually formed something called the Batcave, which was a really big studio in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I was the first artist that was signed to the Batcave under management and production. And this was back in 2003. So I used to sleep on the couch, on the futons, on the floor, burn my CDs. I mean, sleepless nights in San Diego.
Yeah.
And big shout out to the Batcave, Hookmasters, Jazz, Steve, Evan, everybody, Dank. That's how I started. And I came to Las Vegas basically in 2003 for my first show ever.
Okay.
It was at the Palms Casino at the Playboy Lounge when you first walked in. They changed it now, but that was my first show. But long story short, they have a connect with sickness.net, who actually took Beanie Siegel album after he got signed from left Rockefeller. So that album that I was on was the one that he did right after he left Rockefeller and Jay-Z. But the executive producers were sickness.net. Now the production on the track was from the Batcave.
Okay.
So now you have the executive producers, the producers. They're all people that are in my circle. Even though we're all from Philly, who would have a connect in San Diego on the West Coast?
Yeah.
And that would just happen to be me. And I give that, credit to my mother for making that move when I was 12. And when I was young, I used to be mad that my mom left. Like, why would she leave? And me in Philly. But as I got older, I seen that the West Coast had more opportunities, and it was a lot better. And I commend my mother for making that move at a young age.
See, that makes sense because you rep Philly like to the hardest. You know what I mean? But you've got this West Coast feel to you, and that makes sense as to where that comes from because it's I didn't even really know that you kind of almost pretty much grew up in San Diego or Southern California area.
Yep, and you know what? It's funny. Sometimes people are like, what you claim, what you rep. But listen, I know I'm not from physically, anywhere on the West Coast. I'm from Philadelphia, so I'm not going to ever forget where I come from. But I will say that San Diego is my second home. San Diego paved the way for a lot of people that didn't really have a voice because L.A. had the market. The Bay had the market. But who was repping for San Diego? And I joined that team. So a lot of the times I was like, you know what? I'm still repping Dago. Batcave Records is in the building. I was the football captain at my high school. I actually graduated with Nick Cannon.
Oh, dope.
So that I was in Nick Cannon's graduation class. I was more popular than Nick Cannon. You can ask about me too. No, I'm only playing. That's my guy, man. I commend Nick Cannon. I'm not, no hater. That's my guy, man. Whenever I see him, like the people that we went to class, went to school with, we all became successful in our own way because even from that young age, it was different. Just imagine Philadelphia to San Diego. That's like apples and oranges, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going from a high school in San Diego where it's like, man, it's palm trees and, I can see the sun when I go outside. So when I'm in Philly, it's like you got metal detectors.
Yeah, a whole different world.
Yeah, it's a whole different world.
For sure.
But I appreciate San Diego helping me to be more diverse. That's why I don't see race and, when I talk to people, because San Diego, I was the captain of a team that had Samoans, Chaldeans, whites, blacks, Africans. We were all together as one, and that's where I got my diversity from and my lyrics,
Super dope.
Yeah.
See, now, you said your first show out here was in 2003, the Palms.
My first show was at the Palms.
Okay, now see that.
2003 with a live band. You know what I mean? Shout out to, I remember the drummer, his name Cadillac. You know what I mean?
Huh.
I was signed to a Las Vegas management team called BAM. My man Jody Marshall.
Okay.
If you do your research, Jody Marshall, he managed me. He manages. He used to manage also Brittany Soul. She used to be called Skittles back in the day. That's how I know her as. But him and Haroon Abdul Mubarak were my managers, and they were from Las Vegas. And so that's my Las Vegas tie. My first management, my first production was, through Las Vegas. They put me on in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, and we were chopping it up, JR and Hydro and Trey, since we've had Trey in here as well. But, we were talking about how many different relationships and groups and things that were the kind of networking that happened, as a result of hip hop roots.
Right.
Now, when I think of Five, I think of the movement. You know what I mean? And the movement was something that started just a couple of y'all, people that were in there that really didn't even know much of each other than the Roots family, and it became this.
I'm gonna tell you how and a lot of people. It's a real sensitive topic about the movement because of the way things have ended. But to me, I don't think the movement will ever end. And the way that it actually started was the things that I was taught by Krs-one, the peace, the love, the unity, the having fun. How we organized the Temple of Hip Hop when we did seminars and try to teach people how to, just have a community effort together, like all Indians, no chief. That's how we all started. And what happened was I used to host the Hip Hop Roots, but I used to also host other shows around the city.
Yeah.
See, the Hip Hop Roots opened doors for me to open up and host other people's events. And so with that being said, I start promoting and telling people to come to the Hip Hop Roots at the other events. But I started meeting artists that were familiar faces, like the D Dollars and the Explicits, the Don Juans, Mr. Crimson. So, you know, we all came together. We all came to my house. I invited the movement started at my house.
Okay.
And I told them that this is what we're going to do. We're just going to be all together. We're going to shoot at one target from different angles, and we're going to do it together. No name, it's just a movement, and that's how Move 'em ENT came about.
Yeah, and you know, that was what's cool is it started with the handful, and then next thing you know, it was like, you know, I mean, you guys, eventually you guys were in the building where it was just, I mean, 30, 40 deep, you know, it was just, and it wasn't like it was, you had to click up. It was, you know, if you even liked the movement, then you were a part of the movement. You know what I mean? And that was what was cool about that, because eventually, it was like wildfire. I mean, you could not want to be a part of it because it was all love and support and shit.
Right.
And like you said, you guys you had the radio station, you know what I mean? And it was cool to see, you know, Conan, you started running this event at Boulevard Mall, this open mic. So it was even, you know, I went in last night and checked it out. It was just, it was cool to see the faces. You know, I've seen these guys pop up here and there and stuff. I don't think I've seen that many faces in one building that I recognized since Crimson has done his night.
Right.
And that was cool to see, because there's a lot of faces I haven't seen since Hip Hop Roots that were in there. So
yeah, and you know what? It was 17 artists or 18 artists that performed this week. It was 18 artists that performed the week before. Now, mind you, only one artist came. That was Black Ice, the only artist that performed last week. So it's like, okay, the word is starting to spread. And I remember a feel that I used to get when I was at the Hip Hop Roots. And that feel was just like a real joyous feeling when I seen like a congregation. You know, when all of us was there, probably at the height of the night, you know, just to look back and be like, look at what we're doing. We're basically, the Hip Hop Roots family has organized an event that's bringing people together. We're teaching people how to perform. And I remember a lot of the bloopers, man. A lot of the times them guys got on stage and I had to let them know that that's not what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean? You got to get it together. Come back next week and sharpen your blade.
Yeah, and see, and that's what was cool. Even, you know, with Roots, again, there was a structure to it. So it wasn't about necessarily, you know, feeling uncomfortable. There was a lot of people that even talked about, you know, their first time on stage was there, and they didn't even expect to be on stage. But it was the vibe that you felt supported. It wasn't like you were worried about getting clowned coming off stage if you fumbled, and it was almost, you know, you educated people. You let them know, bring that track on a flash drive. You know what I mean? Got to worry about the skip in. You know, make sure you don't bring this, and you know, that was what I think separated Hip Hop Roots from a lot of different events.
And also, you took DJ Trey, JR Beatbox. I would love when they did their thing together, and you know, me and Hydro, we would come up and freestyle behind what we created right there that was organic on the spot. Yeah. And that was something that was very special and unique about the show that we had at the Roots too. Nobody had that sound and that we created. Yeah.
Well, you never know what to expect to get in there, even though you had a flyer every week and there was, you know, 6 MCs and a painter or something. Like, it was always an open mic session, so there'd be, you know, again, b-boys on the floor and spoken word poetry up there, and you know, some dude would hop on the turntable that just happened to be a DJ, and some of these people never even planned, didn't even know it was an open mic, but they were told, and they came in to actually, you know, partake and whatnot, so ended up on stage. Right. But you guys are doing the same concept, you know, with the whole Boulevard thing, and I caught that vibe going up there. You know, it's, you know, just the vendors. You guys had your own another podcast going on. Shout out to them, because that was awesome. They were just kept it with pulling people in and interviewing them and stuff. You got the clothing stores around the mall, part of it. I mean, it's you guys have got it going. I mean, what, week 4, week 5 you guys are headed into?
Yeah, we're headed into week 5 next week.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? And the mall is loving us. Big shout out to the Boulevard Mall. My man Smokey Tone, you know, who opened the doors. It's a funny story how we even got that, you know, is my girl and our daughter were going to get some hot dog on a stick. Yeah. you know, real taste.
Classic mall shit.
Right. And so I see Tony coming in. He's looked at me, S5? I said, yeah, what's up? He said, where the hell you been, man? He said, yo, you're like my favorite artist, man. Like, what the hell? The hip hop roots, everything, what's going on? I said, hey, I'm back. Let's do it. Let's do something. He said, yeah, I'm the leasing property manager at the mall.
Yeah, trip out.
I said, are you serious? He said, I could do whatever, we can make something happen. I said, you know what? I got you. Let me get myself together. Gave him a proposal, did all the paperwork. I let him know that I grew up. When I went back to Philly, got my own record label. I have an entertainment lawyer. I have a lot of things that I've done differently this time. And this time around, it's paid off, And me and Tony just decided we're going to make it happen. And also, another thing that happened while he gave me the actual show is because I went back to school, bro. I got my certificate from the union, so I'm a part of IATSC.
Nice.
I'm a audio stage carpenter.
Sweet.
So I do everything that I can do. For the stage that we're performing on, I built the stage with my hands. So
nice.
I put it up before and I take it down, and yeah.
And it's the Boulevard Mall that's a classic spot. This place has been around forever, but it's over the years it's hurt. You know what I mean? So it's to watch them. That's what I was telling Tone. I said to watch them. They've been kind of building it back up in certain things. So like to know shout outs to Smokey Tone, because every time I see him, that boy is a businessman. I mean, he's just constantly headed into some kind of endeavor, and he's generally successful at every one of them. And even if he's not, it's a learning experience, and it's on to the next, and he uses that. Yeah, and
he has a good heart, man. And I can't say that about a lot of people in this city, but I can say that one person that I know that has a very good heart is that brother Smokey Tone.
Yeah, very supportive too.
Yeah, very supportive, and I appreciate what he's done. Because it's not just for me; it's for the whole community. What we're doing, And I was going to say before the hip hop roots, my first actual hosting job was for Jadakiss. My first hosting job was for Jadakiss in 2001 after the Twin Towers had came down.
Really?
And I moved to Harlem, New York. Big shout out to my man Big Rod from the Rough Riders. He put me on tour, and he was the host. His cousin was the owner of the Rough Riders, and he had me hosting shows for Jada and the Locks, and that's how I got my first start in the hosting.
Nice.
And after that, Larry Lair, who runs something called Industry Tuesdays in Philly.
Yeah.
This is like 2004, to 2008 when we had the last show. But I went to this Industry Tuesday, 100 Tuesdays, really. And after my 100th Tuesday, they made me the host of the biggest open mic in Philadelphia.
That's awesome.
And that's before I came to Las Vegas. So it was like only right that I kind of like linked up with the hip hop roots.
And popped right
because
into the hosting.
it jumped in. It was everything that I was doing.
It fit perfect.
And that's why it fit, and nobody really knew that. So I'm glad I can put that out there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Now where did you got, for anybody who hasn't heard you spit, I mean you got bars. I mean your boy goes. When did you start rapping? Like when do you remember to really start getting?
Can I tell you when I remember? I remember rapping as soon as I could talk, bro.
Okay.
I remember rapping the ha. That's back. If you can remember that, then I'm just saying, because my father was a DJ. You know what I mean? My dad actually was a real Philly DJ, and my mom was a beat girl. She was a part of a breakdancing crew called the Star Jammers.
Okay.
And they had something called basically Dancing on Air. It's called Dancing on Air.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Philadelphia Soul Train, but my mom was a dancer on that show.
Huh.
So I would be a little baby looking at my mom dancing on TV, and then my dad scratching.
Yeah.
So I would always imitate all the
blood,
rap. Yeah, it's in my blood. I grew up hip hop. You know
Nice.
what I mean?
So when did you like your first? You remember your first song or your first verse that you got on a song or anything like, you know what I mean? Like your first. I mean, but that was like that moment where you realized, okay, you know what I mean? Then we're gonna start writing these verses and constructing this shit. And
the first time I actually put bars together and understood, because I always wrote, but I was a late bloomer though. Like I started kind of like with the songs when I was like 20. Like 20, even before. No, I started hosting before I started recording.
Okay.
So I was probably about 22 when I recorded my first song, and it was called I'm a Gangster.
Okay.
And that song actually helped me when I moved to California. I was in Compton, and I went to a place called Leimert Park.
Okay.
And Leimert Park had a open mic called Project Blow.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Very, very famous, and
Yeah.
open mic. And I actually went there and I performed. And it was one of them open mics where it's like you can get booed at this open mic.
Oh yeah, you better have it.
So I performed that song, my first song, and they loved me. And I went outside and I started rapping in the ciphers in the front. And the host of the show asked me, "Where you sleeping at? Where you at? Where you at?" I said, "I'm living in my car," because I was homeless in L.A. pursuing my dreams. And I came and he said, "Look, you can't live in this car in L.A. You're going to get your issue if you, so come with me." And he took me in. He lived on 5th and Slauson. And I stayed there for probably a nice amount of time. And so he helped me out, and I went back to Philly. And to make a long story short, he became Krs-one's road manager.
Okay.
And he is the one that called me to open up for Krs-one. And I met Krs-one, and then the rest basically is history. I became who I am today.
Yeah, because that's I know you got a lot of history with the whole Krs-one and the Temple of Hip Hop, and
Of course.
that's huge, man. So let's bring it back to Boulevard. Now this Vegas Got Talent. That's what it's called, correct?
Las Vegas Got Talent.
So
Showcase. Yep.
I know you and Tone got together, so and you're not. This isn't just a hip hop night, because I saw, just going in yesterday, and I came in late in the evening, and it was still, I got to see a couple MCs, I got to see some spoken word poetry up there, I got to see the guys who closed out the end of the night. I couldn't, man, that was too good.
Vegas Step. Shout out to VegasStep.com.
Oh man, that was amazing. But it's again, you guys, you've got that feel, that artist supporting artist feel. I mean, even the people wandering around and stuff, they're all shaking hands. Everyone's talking. Everyone's,
Can I tell you something? It's not a coincidence, Bob. It's because a lot of people don't understand. When you throw a show, especially in Vegas, the host and the host energy is what conducts the night.
Big time.
The night, I mean, the artists feed off the crowd, but the crowd feeds off the host. So, it's my
You're
thing
steering
is
the ship.
I'm steering the ship, and I'm making sure that everybody's welcome. Everybody gets a shout out. It's kind of like cheers, like, "Hey, Bomb Green, hey, Norm." You know what I mean? That's how it is when you come to, the showcase.
Yeah,
We're at the
talk.
mall. It's just a different effect, man.
Now this is open to the public, anybody who's
anybody.
So they can sign up.
Talent.
They can just walk in and sign up.
You can walk in and sign up.
Okay.
You can come in with your music right there on the spot with a flash drive. You don't have a flash drive on your phone, I'll plug it in. If you need to email it, you can email it right there on the spot. See, that's another thing. I went to a couple shows and DJs was like, if you ain't got it on the flash drive right now, then we can't play it. And no, we don't do that. No, listen, a real DJ is gonna play you however he can. You know what I mean? Real rap, I know technology is boosting and everybody want to be up on the curb, but however you can bring your music, if you just want to do a cappella, it don't matter. Just come down. We want to hear you. We want to see your talent. We can, make sure that we're assessing everything that you need, from the MP3s, from the tapes, the records, whatever you need to play, we're going to play it.
Definitely. Now, even the vendors and stuff, is this, are you guys allowing companies to come in that aren't necessarily in the mall, or a lot of these people just kind of mall-based?
You know what it is? What I've done was open the door, bro. Well, Tony opened the door for me, but I kicked down the hinges and said, well, listen, if you let me in the mall, I'm going to bring my peoples. And Tony said, cool. So my peoples can come. Who are my peoples? My peoples are the community. All businesses. I'm a businessman myself. I would reach out to every business. If I could have 100 vendors down there, come on, bring it. Let's go. We can all do business, and I'm going to promote you throughout the whole night. $25 fee. I make sure the mall gets the percentage that they need, and then we can just keep it moving and keep the show moving. And also, I don't charge the artist to perform. You know what I mean? A lot of that, the game got twisted with that too.
Yeah,
Shout out
that
to
pay to
Coast
play.
to Coast. Shout out to Coast to Coast. But I'm not on that. I'm not on that. I never will pay to perform. So I would never want anybody else to pay to perform.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Just come as you are, man. Come with your talent, and we're going to figure it out at the end of the day. I'm not really making too much bread off the whole thing. It ain't about that. We have a raffle, though, that we come.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a $1 raffle in all the stores in the mall that are affiliated with the show that went in. They give me something, like my man Oscar from Fine Jewelry in Las Vegas. He gives out a watch.
Yeah, and dude, the one that spent $2. He only bought two tickets
for
and
like
ended up
it's
walking.
$100-something watch.
Yeah,
you know
dope.
what I mean. And so my thing is, those are the things that bring value. Because when you do a show, what makes you different?
Yeah,
What makes you different?
that's exactly.
What are you gonna walk away from this show, differently than walking away from that other person's show? And you might walk away with a watch, you know what I mean? But you're gonna walk away with knowledge too, because we make sure that we give out constructive criticism to the artist. We make sure we tell the artist to reach back to the youth and be mentors to the youth in Las Vegas, because they say Las Vegas has the worst educational system in America. But education starts at home, and we could teach our own kids what we need to teach them in order to be successful. And who is grading this scale anyway that's saying Las Vegas is the kids are the least? Who is putting that grade out there?
Yeah.
I mean, they might be smarter in something else that they're not even grading right now.
Yeah, this is true. Very true. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys do too is it's not a concert. It's not a show. It's a showcase. You know what I mean? You guys, like you said, you're educating people. You're bringing the community together. It's a whole different atmosphere. It's not like you're selling tickets and coming to, coming deep to come get fucked up and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I dig it a lot. So, but on that note, let's check out the Las Vegas Got Talent Showcase. Like I said, we went out and we peeped it out. We got some talent, little clips. Peep it out. This is Las Vegas Got Talent, presented by Boulevard Mall. Las Vegas Got Talent is a live showcase featuring singers, rappers, dancers, magicians, comedians, and much more, all on one stage. Their goal is to unite and highlight artists and entrepreneurs throughout the community, creating network for growth, learning, and opportunity. Las Vegas Got Talent takes place every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. inside the historical Boulevard Mall in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is an all-ages event and is absolutely free to the public. So you got some talent? Then come down and show Vegas what you got.
This right here, y'all, is our team. This is our family, and we represent and we do everything for y'all, man. This is Las Vegas Got Talent Showcase, y'all. Give it up for the staff.
All right. That was the Las Vegas Got Talent Showcase. Again, they do that every Saturday at the Boulevard Mall. Pretty much dead center of the mall. I remember when I even walked in, I was like, there's not even like in front of this, or I thought in a store, somewhere.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's the dead center of the mall. I mean, you get all the traffic walking through, but that's awesome, man. We need to get some people in there. I mean, obviously, you're already getting some people in there, but, week 4 going into 5, it's going to get nothing. It's just going nothing but up, I'm sure, from here.
Over 100 people the last 2. That's not too much, but it's starting out. You know what I mean?
Some
over
people,
100 people.
Some people can't even get 20 in the door. You know what I mean? So
I feel you.
I've been there. I've performed for those crowds.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I mean, obviously, we got the Raw. Raw has always been our biggest sponsor the whole time. But this leads back again to the Raw MC battle.
Right.
We started the Raw 16. It was all the intention behind it was not even necessarily like a diss battle. It was we wanted people to come in with their constructed 16 bars and lay it on a cappella and really show people how they can chop their cadence and just certain things and stuff. What did you think about that whole, that Raw 16 era it only lasted a certain chunk of a time. It was only a certain area. It didn't do the whole hip hop roots, the whole time. So I mean, what did you think about that whole Raw 16 era?
All right. Let me just put it out there, because this is I'm gonna air it out right now. Air it out. I'm gonna air it out Sunday. Pete. First off, big shout out to Raw. They used to hold us down every show. Yeah. And when the Raw battle started, the Raw 16 battle started, I used to host it. I used to host all the battles. I remember some cats from Arizona came and was battling some cats from Vegas at the Hip Hop Roots. I was really the host. I wasn't in.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And so, and this is what I was telling you earlier in the show. How I'm gonna lead into this. I got double booked one day. I had to do the Hip Hop Roots, but also I had a show to do at the Palms Casino.
Okay.
At the Hugh Hefner Playboy Suite. And I think Hydro was booked at the same show. So it was like, how can we kind of and then, I could go on live and say, Hydro, I apologize to this day. You know what I mean? But I had to, bro. And it wasn't like I was trying to let the Roots down. But I really thought that the opportunities that I could make at this show could actually elevate the Roots because of what I was trying to do. And I actually had a set there. Okay. And I was performing. I think you see pictures of me in a white robe and with, with Don Juan and everybody. We was all had the robes on the stage and we was just, rocking, had the whole crowd crazy. And so that was that. And the next time it was a Hip Hop Roots, Hydro came to me like, look, Five, that kind of hurt me, bro. And I'm like, well, look, man, I understand. He said, well, listen, I'm moving forward as host. I'm going to do something different. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, well, listen, I understand. I felt like I got fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he said something to me. And afterwards, after he said that, basically I was fired as a host, he said, but you can enter the battle now.
It was like, hint, hint. Let me do you this favor real quick.
So that is where a lot of the aggression or, I would say a lot of the inspiration behind my bars was coming from me not being able to host no more. It was like Hydro let a pit off the chain.
Yeah.
And so every time that we would do this battle, I would win. Every time. And there was one time I didn't win. And the time that I didn't win, I remember it was Kane Sosa. And big shout out to Kane. That's like my little brother.
That boy right there.
And when you go up on stage and you do a Raw 16 battle, it was about precision. Wordplay. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't about whatever. But that's when I found out that my dad had kidney disease the same day, and I got tore up from the floor. My brother here, he can attest. I was drinking. I was late to the show.
Emotional, right?
I was real emotional, and I lost. You know what I mean? And, the next month, I came back and I got him, and it was kind of like, what happened? But at the end of the day, I left off not being defeated as the Raw Battle, champion, and I'm still the Raw Battle champion to this day in my eyes. Even though we haven't, done a battle in a long time, for me, I never got kicked off because I never lost after I won the title again.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I reached out to Raw a few times. I talked to them, and we had something, an agreement going on. But then when I went back to Philly, I got on the organ donors list for my father.
Okay.
So I was going to actually give my father my kidney.
Oh, wow.
I went through all the testing, I did everything that I could to give my father my kidney. Mm-hmm. And right before the surgery, they tell me that I have too much. My blood pressure is too high.
Oh, wow.
And I have too much protein in my urine. And this was right before the surgery. So they told me I couldn't give it to
No
him.
go.
We was the same blood type and everything. I thought, I'm going to put myself through this, and this is what I came here for. Went through a whole year of testing and everything. And so right after that, my dad told me, you know what, son? Thank you so much for what you did. You're noble, you're brave. But now it's time for you to go back out Vegas and finish what you started. And that's why I came back.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
See, okay, so how long were you in Philly when you went back? Because you went back, I mean, because you just recently
years.
came back. I mean, like within only a few months, huh?
Yeah, I came back. I went back to Philly for 3 years.
Okay.
From March of 2015 to March of 2018. And I just came back on the 19th of this year.
Okay. Were you doing a bunch of, other than, take care of your father and things like that? Were you,
when I was back in Philly, I wasn't really too much on the music because I was really focusing on regaining that relationship with my family, with my daughters. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Big shout out to Serenity, Savannah, Symphony, your daddy love you. You know what I mean? And my son is in Cali, Xavier. I love him too. And when I went back to Philly, I was on daddy mode. If you go back to my Instagram pics, you'll see a lot of pics of me and my daughter. I was soaking that up. And the reason why I could say soaking it up, because I knew when I came back out here, I wasn't going to have that same relationship and same feel physically, but that mental was always there, and they know what their daddy is doing, and I had to prepare them for the mission that I'm on right now, because that when daddy come back is going to be totally different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm paving the way for them. They're the future. That's what I do everything for, is my kids. And a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be a hip-hop artist, entertainer, and also to be a father. And still try to maintain. A lot of people point the fingers and you're not a real dad, or you're not. But who is a real dad to you? Mm-hmm. And what does a real dad look like? And who told you about that?
Exactly.
It's like, who really told you that this is what a real dad is supposed to be? I'm questioning you now because you believe in that. You know what I mean? And if you was raised by a real father, congratulations to you. But my children are being raised by a real father as well. And it's not because of what you tell me or not. It's because I'm on a real mission. But anytime I spit, anytime I go on stage and host, I'm doing this for my kids, and that's why I go so hard, and it's so professional. It comes out
that's good.
Because I'm really trying to make it pop, because I know it's going to benefit my children.
Nice.
I mean,
well, as you should. I mean, that's, I've got, mine's almost 17, but she's known nothing but, since she was a baby, I've pretty much been pushing the music game, but
right.
I can understand, she's been my biggest fan. She's my biggest inspiration and stuff. And
come on, bro.
I mean, that's huge.
That's what we do it for, man.
So, I mean, it was the whole back to Philly thing. That was a good trip, going back home and, just spending all that time back up there and stuff. Okay, good.
And I actually started working for, it was a homeless shelter for teenagers called Forget Me Not.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, big shout out to all the kids and that whole organization back home. I also worked for a store that was right next, who was kind of like the partners with Forget Me Not. I worked for Official Clothing Boutique. It was, a very, very nice clothing line. I don't know if you, or a clothing store. I don't know if you've seen the pictures on my Instagram, but it was like an old cathedral or something, a synagogue.
Yeah, I do remember
they
seeing.
They changed it into a clothing store.
Really?
And my godfather actually owns the store, and it was amazing. And
that's cool.
And they do a lot for the community. And when I talked to him, he's actually turning that into an event center now to do shows and concerts and private parties. So I'm trying to connect the dots so I can get some Vegas artists to go back to Philly, and then do something on a bigger scale, something that they haven't done before. Try to bridge the gap.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man,
and then vice versa. I got a lot of friends in Philly that call me, yo, I want to come to the December 8th. It's the Philly Takeover. Novi Records is supposed to be out here. Shelly Anno, CEO, Corporation Records coming out here. It's going to be a lot of people from Philly here December 8th, and I'm calling it the Las Vegas Got Talent Showcase Philly Takeover. So I'm putting it out there for the whole organization. Shout out to Novi. And yeah, that's basically how that's going down. every Saturday is gonna be something new. Every
Super
Saturday
nice.
something new.
Nice, nice. Well, I look forward to that. Because like I said, a plug in Philly would be nice. You know what I mean? I know I've been through Philly. I don't think I've actually ever performed in Philly. But
Hey, cheese sticks for everybody.
Hey.
I got you. Hey, forget about it.
cheese sticks for everybody.
I got you, man. Philly is a tough city though, but it taught me a lot. It taught me to stay on your toes, watch your back. You gotta be on your P's and Q's just in life. But Philly is because any corner it could go down. And I commend any artist, anybody that was raised in Philly that's out here, even in Las Vegas. If you from Philly and we 3,000 miles away, man. Come holler at your boy S5, man. And we'll get it together. You know what I mean? So
Hell yeah.
it's a difference from Philly to Las Vegas because it's not too many out of towners in Philly. If it is, it's not like people are raised in Philly, brought up in Philly, and don't go nowhere else but Philly. Some people don't even go over the bridge to Jersey. You know what I mean? So over here, it's more of a melting pot. Everybody from everywhere, you can kind of come together.
Yeah.
But back home, it's like, no, you ain't from here. Like, who's this? You can't be around here. So it's not really inviting certain areas. But if you're from there, you can be in the toughest areas because they know you. So that's basically what I'm saying. Shout out to everybody in Philly. If you're watching now, keep your head up. Keep ducking the bullets. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of y'all feel like sitting ducks. You know what I mean? I felt like that when I was back home too. It could go down at any time. So the biggest thing that happened in Philly was the Eagles won the damn Super Bowl when I came back. And I was happy because everybody in the city came together though. It wasn't just about the Eagles winning. It was about a lot of beefs was getting settled. A lot of people was like, you know what? Yeah, the city we won. Like the dark cloud that was over the city was just off of us, even if it was just for that day or that night when we had our parade. We needed that.
That's good.
And I needed that. And that's when I came back to
you
Vegas,
saw
like,
that
hey.
pride with the win because it was, the hockey game afterwards, all the Philly fans here, it drizzled and lingered on for months after.
Right.
It was just, the pride was huge in there. So.
And I'm going to tell you something that I noticed different from when I left. When I left, basically that shooting occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And, it kind of like... I know a lot of people say it brought a lot of people together afterwards, but I could see a lot of people on edge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was what was big. The community, it was huge. I've never in my life seen Vegas so somber.
Right.
It was like ghost town for a week.
Yeah.
It was awkward to see. It impacted you, and you could see it. It's one thing for people to tell you, but I always tell people, you see the 9/11s and the Sandy Hooks and things. You're watching it from the TV and outside, and you hurt for these people and stuff.
Right.
To see it happen in the city and to actually watch things go down that people don't see and understand. It's like I said, it's an eye opener because I unfortunately got caught in the middle of all of it. But it was not even as much as it was watching the impact that it had on the entire community.
Right.
But it in turn, if Vegas. If there's anything I know about Vegas, and which is why I love this city, is this community comes together. People come together out here. We run the biggest toy drive in the nation out here.
Right.
Shout outs to 98.5. You can love them, you can hate them.
Right.
They don't support the locals and the local music and stuff. They support the local community. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they do this for the community. So that's that was big with the shooting with me for sure.
But with that is like. Vegas does have a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they're going to give, but just as far as the character, the feeling, I felt like a lot of people were sad. You know what I mean? When I came back, like, and I was like, you know what? Let's get some energy back in the city.
Yeah.
Let's get this thing going back again. Let's get some love flowing around.
And that was huge. People talked about not wanting to do the outdoor festivals and this,
people
but
scared.
What? And you can understand, but this is where you got to think, you know, they win if you don't do that. So I mean, you
the
got to
love is
keep
going to
going.
overpower that hate, man.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's
right.
why I'm pushing the positive movement. You know, the peace, love, unity, having fun, health, love, awareness, and wealth. You know what I mean? Those are lessons taught by the Temple of Hip Hop given to me that I've spread numerous times.
That's good.
You know, and that's what I continue to do because I know that positive is going to outdo that negative, man. Listen, he's always working it, and we know who he is. You know what I mean? He's always working, but we just got to work harder.
Yeah.
You know, and that's life. And when I went back home, one thing I did was I linked up with my brother, Krs-one, and I know I want to bring him out here in just a second, but he actually introduced me to Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
You know, I had an opportunity to be in the studio with Kendrick when he recorded that new Freezer song.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? And you know, it was just a really good, you know, connection. Not just him, but I met his management. The whole TDE family was was there. I was VIP. Me, Krs-one, and Krs-one introduced me to his brother, Show Gutter, and we've been like a big family ever since that. You know, that tour. We haven't lost. Everybody is still have that same energy amongst us, ups and downs, but we all stick together, and that's why I want to bring my brother Krs-one so we can start talking about the future. I know we can talk about the past, but in the future we're going to definitely pave the way and do it at a higher scale. Like I have a meeting, I could say, with my man Evan Groves, who is the creator of one of the biggest software programs for producers called Studio Link, Studio Link VST. You know, and they just did the Scott Storch package. If you can go on Instagram, type in Studio Link. But we're working out some things right now, and with other artists to get some things, you know, connected, but at a higher scale, bro. The future is we have to use the stuff that we're doing and stuff that we've been through, like you're doing now. Like I commend you for putting this podcast together. It's ingenious, you know what I mean? You keep that up. I appreciate you having me on here, but these are the things that we have to do. Utilize the lessons that we were taught, all the things that we've been through to put it on a bigger scale. This is it, man. This is where it's at. I'm happy for you.
I appreciate that, man.
Congratulate you and Miss Green, y'all, my brother and sister. I put it out there, and y'all family to me, and I'm happy to be a part
likewise,
of it.
man. We appreciate that, and hold that because I know you got like you just started getting into this whole good Kendrick thing, so I want to pick back up on that. But we are closing out at the end of the year. You know, we got a couple more days left in November and then December, so we're just going to check out some albums you should be looking out for before the end of the year. So check it out. All right, again, look out for those albums. Like I said, those are the only ones pretty much coming out hip-hop wise towards the end of the year and shit. I'm looking forward to that Method Man album.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been due for one. But, yo, you brought somebody, man. You were telling me, and we started the whole Kendrick conversation, which is why I didn't want to really stop you, but, we definitely had to get him on deck. So, introduce your boy, man.
Yo, this is my brother, man, from another man, Krs-one. You know what I mean?
Man, what's up with the people out there, man?
So shit, you said this is the man who brought you into Kendrick's studio.
Well, actually, I mean, if you want to tell it, what I said was he's the one, he brought me to the studio
Okay.
where Kendrick was recording at. Yeah, he recorded the song. But honestly, it was deeper than that.
Yeah.
It was real deeper than that. It was basically he brought me into a family. You know what I mean? And we connected on a deeper level, mentally. How we gonna do it in the future with this music industry, and we have some strategic plans to just help out the community and stuff like that. But you can, tell them a little bit more.
Well, first and foremost, me and Kendrick go way back.
Okay.
Like, I went to school with him, so I grew up with him. You know what I mean? So this whole thing is way deeper. Like, he was on the East Coast too. On the East Coast, I hit my man like, "Hey man, my boy got, what you trying to do? You trying to link up?" He like, "Yeah, man, want fly out here." He flew me out there. Actually, flew me and my partner out there, and from there it was curtains. Like every show he had up and down the East Coast, like we hit. But we drove to, but we was VIP and everything. Every studio session, photo shoots, the little pop-up shops. Like, everything was cool.
Super tight.
Yeah.
So
That was just last year.
now, is this gonna be leading to something big? Are you gonna be looking to some kind of Kendrick feature or something? I mean,
Well, I would just say this. You know what I mean? We are all artists, and Kendrick has inspired us, to be independent. You know what I mean? And to do, like, you see the level that he's been on, and it's because of people like my brother that support him, that that spread the word, that spread the message. But we also clone our own craft. Me and my brother are going to be working on our own project.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we've been working on our own project for a minute now, and I just want to get an opportunity for him so he can let y'all know a few things that what he has. Because, last year, at that time, I was on the donors list with my father. I was going through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And for him to come and give me that opportunity, it brought me back to like, okay, it
put some fire in
yeah,
there.
put some fire into me. So now I have an opportunity, and I want to, pass it off so he can promote the things that he has going on, and he can tell you whatever he wants to tell you.
Well, I'm Q West, basically. We already got that out the way. Come from Compton, you know what I mean? I got a label called Late Bloomer. I got a project dropping first quarter of this next year, you know what I mean? So it's called the Late Bloomer, self-titled, and I'm branding it, clothes, video games, however I can do it, whatever I can do, you know what I mean? Marketing, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm doing. That's what we doing. We got music coming. I mean, I got a little situation down here, Little Riders Records. My boy just became a president, so it's a lot of paid shows coming up, a whole lot of new music, a whole lot of everything.
Nice, so we can definitely start seeing you in rotation out here a lot more and stuff, huh?
He was in the Humble video.
I was in the Humble video, the Element video, the King Kunta video.
Yeah.
Like, Kendrick's like one of my best friends.
See, y'all already on YouTube and shit. Start typing that shit up. Look out for your boy.
On the Humble video, you know what I mean, when he passed the Great Poupon,
I'm the one driving the caddy.
and our boy Show Gutter, who came out here
driving that joint.
Yeah, past the Great Poupon too. So
that's
shout out, man.
Shout out my boy Show Gutter, TDE, Black Eye Militia. You know what I mean?
And another thing, me, him, and Show Gutter, we did a song together, and it's on YouTube as well.
Right.
Money on My Mind, and but the producer of the track,
oh man,
our homie,
rest in peace, Trips.
Yeah, Trips Beats, man. He was murdered by the brother of one of the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. And that put
go shoot them views up for my man though.
Yeah, and that put like a damper on the thing. We had plans.
Yeah.
When you take somebody's life, you don't know the plans that they had that was going on, that was going to be made, and those things, it was leading up. We just shot the video, and then all of a sudden, here it go.
Yep,
so
man.
Rest in peace, Trips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rest in peace, Trips, man.
Yeah, that's not good at all, brother. Well, shit. So, what can we expect? I mean, you guys said you're working on a project. You've been working on a project.
Yeah.
So you have some kind of you shooting for a time frame here? Are we not quite in that realm yet? Or
I know next year for sure. Me and my brother have at least a mixtape out together for sure. I know we'll have some singles out You know what I mean?
Some visuals.
Yeah, some visuals. That's the thing that I wanted to do before, and I'm glad, with this podcast you're doing it is putting the visual behind the lyrics and stuff. And we need that. You know what I mean? And shout out to my man G Smooth, King Naughty, and What Though. They always lace me up. And in the place down at the Boulevard Mall, Snoop Dogg store. Big shout out to Big Percy and Big A, my man Sugar Bear. They always show love to us every time we go down there. You know what I mean? So,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shit. So where, I know you got music on rotation, both of you, I'm sure. So like, where can we find you guys? I mean, where's the best spot to? I mean, just to be able to pound in.
The best spot right now to find me and link with me is on Instagram.
Okay.
At Krs-one Yeah. And you can get my link to my music from there.
Nice.
Spotify, iTunes, all that.
What about you, Five? Like, what's your go-to right now?
You know what? Just come to the Boulevard Mall every Saturday.
Man,
you know what I mean?
There.
Come show
Hands
some love,
on.
show your face, man. And shout out to my record label. I'm the president of Music Junkies LLC. My brother Poppy, my brother Easy, they back home. Big shout out to everybody uptown. And 7 Deuce TRU. I'm good, man. We've been up, down, left, right, but I'm still in this music industry. I'm still right here. And if y'all didn't know, I am 38. You know what I mean? 38 years old.
I'm chasing you. I'm right behind you, brother.
You know.
I want to shout out Rose Kranz, Maury Ruger, Picasso, all them youngers over there out of Compton. Go check them out too, because they coming up with a plan. For real, Westside Boogie, my niggas, all that. Compton got it on lock right now. Facts.
Right. So, from Hub City, from Philly to Philly. Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, we connecting the dots.
Man, I'm glad you guys came through. Again, you make sure you guys like the station, subscribe, hit the voicemail text line, shoot some ideas our way. If you got segment ideas, you want to be part of the Raw 16, let us know. 775-538-6350. Hit up the email, hiphoprootspodcast@gmail.com. My dude, S5, man, like I said, this was a pleasant surprise, sir. Like I said, I didn't expect you to be on the show, and then you hit me with that phone call. It was just, it was like that piece of the puzzle that was missing,
Yes, sir.
It's like having a boy band but missing the group.
It's all good. Yeah, man, I gotta come through.
And my dude, I'm glad you came through and shot some info with us and stuff. Again, follow us, like us. Hip Hop Roots, we out. Go Knights, go.
Slicker than an on-side kick. Flew from the back cave to my smoke room click. Yeah, S5, new artist of the year. You disagreed and you disappeared. Got sued on the freeway. You put it on replay. This beat Bob the back cave. This ain't Kanye. My Lamborghini pulling freaks and bikinis. Eating on fettuccine and my tag saying genie. Now make a wish on the industry I piss. It gon' take 1,000,001 niggas to stop this. You pop Nouveau and we pop Chris. What's the difference between the 4.0 and the 4.6? Jay told you, now 5 roll emoji. Show you how to turn your rock to an oval. Whipping it up, beans and 5 shifting it up. Free got the arsenal in the truck, I'm slick. The last thing you gon' hear in your life is click. 215's #1 lottery pick. You slip when you hit, when moving you gotta be slick. Any chick that I'm with, she gotta be thick. An enemy that I see, he gotta get hit. S5 signing off, hip hop.